Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I almost said serious joy, but this is Who Are You? I am Kristen Ryder, and I am here with a very handsome guest. I'm going to introduce him after a few announcements that I have for everybody. Back in Asheville, holy moly, welcome to the apocalypse, everybody. We still don't have drinkable water, but we have, is it potable or potable water? People say, you say potable. I say potable. There's no E. Oh, the English language is so messed up anyway. Whatever. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. So, folks, if you need an astrology reading or you want a sound healing, go to KristenWriter.com, book a session. I've got pop-up tarot going tomorrow at noon, a little lunchtime Friday psychic download for you. And then this Saturday, we're doing the octahedron in my Platonic Sound program. That's this shape that is two pyramids on top. It is the air element. We will be doing a lot of breath work. You get a sound healing. I give you information on the element and what it means. And then we create a unique prescription for you based on your frequency because you do it yourself. And we activate it, and you can put it in your lungs. You can put it in wherever you feel you need the air element in your energetic system. Matt's like, what is that?
Well, no, what? I'm just thinking about all the places you could put it in.
Oh, that's such a guy thing to say.
Well, then we're in.
This
I'm in
is
the right.
PG.
Yeah, okay.
Is this PG?
Okay.
It's PG anyway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Who Are You? Who? Dun, 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 dun. Who are you? Who? Dun, dun, dun. That was good.
Yep, it was.
Good. I would like to welcome y'all to my guest, Mr. Matt Burke. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Matt Burke. Wait, did we meet through Chelsea Ray and Brian? No, it was Julie. No, we met through Jen Garal at it was it's a steakhouse now, but it was a Mexican restaurant across from Orange Peel. Is that how we first met here?
I thought that we did meet at Brian's. I thought we met in his, if memory serves, I remember noticing you and beginning to notice you in his clinic down in the River Arts District. And then the next time we really, the first time we ever really had a big conversation was at the inn.
The wedding.
No, it was at the inn, Bo's Inn. It was at the Hickory Nut Gap Inn, which is now called the Batcave Inn out in.
Oh.
Yeah. You were out there and you were like, "Hey, Matt." I was like, who are you?
Who and here you are on my Who Are You show.
That's right.
I think my mom is watching. Full circle. Well, see, I was pregnant. I tell you, man, postpartum is for real. You have a baby at 40, shift goes.
Yeah.
It goes. You're like, yeah. Have you been pregnant before?
I have.
Hey, it's true. Men can get pregnant now. Silence.
That's
crickets.
right.
Crickets.
That's right.
So I am so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for your yes. And you are a professional actor. And when did you start that journey, actually?
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Well, you didn't know I was going to ask that, did you?
No, I have no idea what the hell you're going to ask.
No, I don't either.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. I would say that my journey as an actor began when I was as early as I could stand up and do anything resembling performing. I would do lip sync acts in front of my family.
Oh, yes.
So I'd go to family reunions. We had big family reunions in the South, in Greenville, South Carolina, actually. And they had this big lake, and I would just get up and lip sync to old Statler Brothers songs and Oak Ridge Boys songs, like a good old Southern boy. And then when I was in kindergarten, I did a lip sync. I did one of those lip sync numbers for the talent show that my elementary school had. And I made an inadvertent joke. It wasn't, I had a guitar with no strings on and I had it on playing left-handed. My brother in the wings was flagging me like, dude, you've got the guitar on backwards. So I'm looking at him like, what the hell's up with him? And then I go, oh my God. So then I stopped the music, which was already playing. And I said, hold on, stop. Took my cowboy hat off, adjusted the guitar. And of course, the whole room is like, is he okay? My mom even remembers thinking, oh my God, stage fright. And I went boom, and I went, my guitar's on backwards. And for whatever reason, the roof came off. Like it was the audience laughed. And I just remember in that moment going,
Oh,
that was cool.
right.
Wow. That was really, really, really cool. I just affected a room full of strangers in a pretty noticeable way. And so that accompanied with my love for going to film, and I loved going to the movies.
Oh, yeah.
Just loved
I mean, the
going
popcorn
to
alone.
the movies. The popcorn alone, and the movies that were coming out then were pretty cool. I remember stuff like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, I loved Raiders of the Lost Ark.
And Empire Strikes Back,
Star Wars,
and E.T.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Like it was the right combination of movies to hit that sweet spot. And so it was pretty much, that was it.
Hook, line, and sinker.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of, I mean, my mom put me in a pageant when I was 9 and I sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Yeah.
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 That's what got me.
To go a little bit deeper, because I've actually thought about this quite a bit. It was just me and my older brother and my mother. This will segue into the story I think you're going to ask me about later.
Okay.
So my older brother, who was 4 years older than I was, of course, he became like the man of the house for me. So I was constantly seeking for information on how to be a man in the world, how to be a male in the world. And of course, I got the 4 year older than me reaction, which was a combination of teasing, rejection, love, annoyance, all of the appropriate responses from an older brother.
Yeah.
And so, but what was really, really clear is that he would make as much room for his existence, his feelings in the room as possible. And he would just, push mine out, basically saying, I don't care about what you feel that much. I care about mine. So my response,
that's what he was modeled, or?
No, I wouldn't say that was what was modeled for him. It was a result of being 6 years old and finding himself without his best friend in the house anymore, i.e. our father. And so there was emotions I don't think he knew how to handle, and probably a combination of temperament too. But in any event, my feelings were nowhere near as important as his. So appropriate room wasn't being made. So I didn't get the experience of feeling seen or heard.
Oh, sure.
And then the stage gave me ample opportunity to be seen and heard.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. We had fun drama in my house growing up, but we did the same thing. Like, I was the middle of my 2 sisters, which I still am. My brother was the oldest, and, it was Michael Jackson. It was Thriller.
Yeah.
It was gymnastics.
Yeah.
It was making up dance routines.
Yeah.
It was, all that fun.
I remember
the 80s,
Thriller. Yeah, I remember Thriller being a lot of a big deal back then. Yeah, for sure.
So fun. I love the time that we grew up, Pluto and Libra generation.
Yes.
Because we didn't have all the technology and all that.
We didn't.
So I totally understand the hook, line, and sinker to the stage. It's so great.
Yeah.
And I also understand challenging relationships with fathers.
Right.
And wow, hasn't that made us stronger today? High five. We're doing great. And now, how did that evolve for you? Did you start getting into school programs and doing extracurricular things there? Is that where it started playing out?
I did a talent show again in the 2nd grade. And then there was a group of friends of of mine that we all formed like a little neighborhood drama troupe.
Oh, how
And
awesome.
we did a few original plays. I was in the school play. I got the lead in the school play in the 5th grade. And so there were just all these opportunities. I won a modeling contest in the 6th grade.
Oh, nice.
Which is hysterical to think, because I had a mullet. And
listen, mullets were really cool.
And I had never done any modeling in my life, but because I was comfortable at that point, and I think just like demonstrating, I had fun in front of people. I had fun entertaining people, and so that's what got me. I mean, there were other kids in that contest. I mean, this was a big modeling contest in Atlanta.
Yeah,
and there were kids in there that had experience, that were like throwing the coat over the shoulder and doing the whole. The whole thing. And I just came on and did a little bit of Chuck Berry and a little bit of just some stuff that I'd picked up from watching movies, really. And
because imitation, right?
And the personality got me there. So modeling contest, boom. I took some modeling classes. I did, and got into the theater. So in Atlanta, they didn't have a middle school. It was just elementary and high school.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I went from 7th grade into 8th grade, and 8th grade was the beginning of high school. So I was able to participate in high school plays when I was in 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
And then moved down to Jacksonville, Florida when I was in 9th grade, and they did a big old thing of Romeo and Juliet, and I played Romeo, and I got noticed. Like, that was in a new school that was like where I got, okay, I'm getting attention from doing this, and I like doing this. So it was further encouragement to that's how I was like, this is my thing.
Great.
Yeah.
And that's amazing to know that in 8th grade.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I was doing like high-lows and the show choirs and stuff by 6th grade, and it was similar. I did
high-lows.
Oh, it's a show choir. It's like singing and dancing, and we would go around to old people homes, and that was through school, and it would be a class. It's like like 6 boys and 6 girls, or maybe it was 12, and we would do dances and come up with different shows and do Christmas shows and all that stuff. But it was all through school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did modeling too. God, that was horrific.
Now, where did you grow up?
Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a Glicks commercial once. Now, how did theater evolve? Because are you predominantly a film actor now, or you do it all?
I did film. So I went to college and I got both my associate's degree, which is a 2-year degree of the arts, and at a small acting college called Florida School of the Arts.
Oh, okay.
In Palatka, Florida.
Palatka.
And then transferred to Florida State, got my BFA in acting.
Hi, Paige. Hi, Barbara. Sorry.
That's all right. Hi, Paige. Hi, Barbara. Did regional theater, went out to LA for a couple of years.
Oh, wow. How old were you by then?
24, 25.
Oh, okay.
Like, and I was not ready for Los Angeles.
Los Angeles is interesting.
It just was overwhelming. And I ended up doing a couple of stage productions while I was out there. So I did manage to do worthwhile things, but it was very, very clear that I was out of my depth. I was not ready for that. And so I decided to go back and get my master's degree.
Oh.
So I got
you're like super schooled.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where did you go to do that?
So the University of Delaware.
What brought you there?
They had one of the top programs in the country.
Oh, wow.
It was the professional theater training program, and it was more or less a classical theater training program. So their mission was very clear.
Lots of Shakespeare.
We train our students to play the best roles ever written for the stage. And it was a free ride.
Oh, great.
And there were signs. Like, I just remember there was a movement teacher in there that blew my mind. We had the same pair of shoes on, and
that's a synchronicity.
That's totally. And then another one of the teachers on the staff had the same last name as me, and there was just something very kismet, and it fit.
So that's like your spiritual intuition also coming online to say, okay, we've got the same shoes. That's a sign. And
well, the most important thing that happened when, like, all of the other big wig schools, the NYUs, the Juilliards, they charged you $50 to $100 to audition, and you got in there and auditioned for 1 or 2 people at the most.
Oh, yeah.
This this school had all 6 members of the acting faculty there. They took a year off to recruit.
Oh, wow.
And there was no charge. And you got, with the other schools, you got to go in there for what, 10 to 15 minutes. You got to go in there with a group of 12 for 2 hours to work with the entire faculty.
So they really cared about getting into the heart of it.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I auditioned for CCM twice, and they offered me electronic media. They said I had
Cincinnati
pitch problems.
Conservatory Music.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh, am I
You
not?
have pitch problems.
And I got shit so right in all of my other auditions. I was like, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not moldable enough for you.
At that level,
Yeah.
they need to find reasons to say no to you because it's so competitive.
Yeah.
They can only pick so many people.
See, I just moved to New York City and figured it out.
Yeah.
I had my eligibility card and moved when I was 19.
But I had that moment. I auditioned for Juilliard and of course didn't get in. And I went to one of the auditors after the audition and I said, so any feedback? And he said, they had me do this exercise where I had to hold a baby in my arms and connect with the baby. And so I would feedback. He said, yeah, we didn't really feel you connected with the baby. And I just thought, you don't like me. It's cool.
Right. Yeah. Right. Like,
you
can
say,
you call this? I'm asking for feedback, which requires honesty.
Right.
Transparency.
Yeah.
Which we all are learning so much more about these days.
Not an easy game.
It's not an easy game.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not, because you have to be honest with yourself. So amazing. And then you did Delaware. How long was the master's program?
3 years, 24 months.
God bless. I couldn't handle that shift. I'm like a learn by experience person.
Oh, it was experiential.
Well, sure. I just did it in real life. That's how I did it.
Yeah.
Did you move to New York City? Where did you go after school? You never did New York City?
I never wanted to do New York City. No cell in my body ever wanted to go to New York and do that game. It was pretty clear once I graduated from Delaware in 2007 that I knew that I wanted to be here. I knew that Asheville. I knew Asheville is where I wanted to be. Yeah, it was just one of these. It was one of these things. I first came to Asheville in 1995 to visit my high school sweetheart who came up to UNCA.
Oh, love.
And, as with everyone else in Asheville who feels called here.
Mountains call you.
I felt the call and it had been on my radar. And when I had to pick a place to live, I just followed my heart. But I would say I followed my soul here too.
I mean, that's what happens. And since we're talking about it, how, once these mountains call you, they call you.
Yeah.
Like, y'all know the grid work and the activations and things that I do in these mountains. They're full of quartz. There's lots of lithium, which is a very powerful element for transformation, ascension, conscious shift.
And there's lots of gold.
Is there gold?
There is a lot of gold here.
Which is also, you're giving me some good information for this weekend. I'm so excited. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So we're going to hit the road, Matt. Yeah. Hi, Noelle. I love you. So when you got that call and you moved here, because it is such a creative town, an artistic town.
Yes.
And now we are in an evolutionary shift of our town.
Indeed.
In my opinion. How has your experience been post Helene?
Oh my God. I remember I was awakened by 2 explosions, 2 transformers exploding.
Wow.
And I had no idea that the storm was going to be anywhere near as severe as it was when it hit.
I don't think any of us.
So I just went to sleep thinking, we'll get a lot of rain and it'll be some flooding and it won't be a big deal. And then those 2 transformers exploded in the middle of the night. And I woke up and then there were trees falling down in pretty much every which direction except towards the house.
So many
the tree fell down in a house across the street.
Oh.
And I got, the next morning, there were trees just down on the road in either way. And a local crew came and cut the trees up pretty quickly. And I was able to drive around. And I just remember driving around just thinking to myself, this is going to take this is going to take, we've been devastated.
Yeah.
This is awful. I saw the water level rise to almost to I-26, and I think I kind of got then like downloaded, not because I was thinking, but just because it felt like information that I was receiving just simply by looking at the landscape, that we were in a new world.
That's it. We're in Asheville, North Carolina, Barbara, where the hurricane hit, and there's still a lot of devastation. And you can't describe. It's just like a war zone. That there weren't any bombs. It's because even the nature that I'm seeing. I had a break and was in upstate New York where the trees are really vibrant and changing colors, but coming back here, there's just like a dullness, like Gaia has been traumatized along with all of us. And I'm grateful you're okay. And many of my friends are okay. But there's a lot of people that they're still like digging people out, and homes floated away, towns washed away. And it's going to take a minute. Have you hit because you get into fight or flight, survival, and the adrenaline, the cortisol, which as actors, familiar with.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So what did you do to regulate yourself in the last month? Because this is also acting, right? These are tools that we can use for acting.
Breath. I walk a lot. I walk in the sunshine a lot. I hydrate. I really will take 5 minutes and just be. One of the things that I teach, I'm an acting teacher as well, and there's relaxed stillness as a skill, and that's one of the first things that I teach my students who are acting on camera is to learn how to be completely 100% perfectly still. Because it's not because even when, and it's funny because when I'll say be still to people, they'll do what they think is stillness, and it's not stillness. And I say, no, perfectly still.
Right.
But then it's like, I don't want you to be rigid and still. I want you to be relaxed and still. And so that getting yourself to that place is, the still point. That's a really useful way to sort of regulate the nervous system, because in order to do that and hold it for a few minutes, you got to be relaxed. And so, breath, walking, sunshine, hydration, relaxation.
And when you're relaxed, then there's greater clarity, focus, accessibility, and
receptivity. You're in a place of receptivity. It's easier for you to receive information, I would say, for me anyways.
So that's interesting, because that gets into like channeling, right? Now, how did you, when you were in your master's program, thank you for that share. When you were in your master's program, were you starting to work on more film in that? It was still theater, because theater and film are two different beasts. So what started shifting you to film?
I got to Asheville, and after the first couple of years, I thought that I had made the biggest career snafu of my life. And I thought, what working actor moves to Southern Appalachia? And so I was this close to moving back out to LA. And then I thought there was something I just said, hold. And I went and was able to do theater elsewhere for about 6 months. And I came back in the spring of 2011, and something inside my stomach said, stay, you're good. And then.
So you've always had that gut instinct.
It's not that simple. I wish I could say that it is. I have, in some areas, yes, there have been instances where my gut will tell me, and the signal is clear. There are other situations and other scenarios where I'm lost out at sea, and my gut, I can't. What my gut? What? Who? What? so it just depends. But my relationship with acting has always felt sort of destined. It was my first love, and it's something that I guess I've been willing to give up the most for. And so I do think that the nature of my relationship is sacred. And I think, and that to me is connoted by a lot of different things. But one thing also is that a sacred relationship is one also where you're willing to sacrifice. You're willing to give up something of value for the benefit of that relationship.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean specifically. So when I got back in the spring of 11,
it's great that you know those dates.
Yeah, it was clear to stay put. And then I booked my first movie that year. And then all of a sudden, 3 studios popped up in Asheville that were offering acting classes and that were taping it. It happened like all in one fell swoop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I started booking stuff pretty fast. And
now, do you have an agent?
I do. Yeah.
Excellent. Don't tell us who it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to know who it is?
I mean, if you want to share. I mean, this is your show.
I'm with Bold Talent Agency out of Charlotte, North Carolina. The woman that runs that is her name is Carla Howell.
How is Carla?
We have a very wonderful rapport.
It's so important.
Yeah.
Awesome. How long have you been with her?
Since 2016.
Oh, nice.
2017.
Yeah.
So 7 years.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you. Well, I had an agent before that. I mean, I got an agent. I got representation in 2011, and so I've been booking things since then. But they've been, in all honesty, my film stuff has been meager, and I have missed the stage greatly. And I am now getting back into live performance, and I feel like it's like a rekindling of my first true love.
Exactly. The inner child.
Yeah.
Where, because you can't, I love live performing, obviously, because there's so many more opportunities for surprises or those truly authentic moments where, especially if you fuck something up,
it has an actual pulse.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I'm not a big film person.
Well, and it took me a while to kind of figure it out, but I'm not. I appreciate the end product when it's good, but the process itself it's a director's medium, and the money is fantastic.
Hello.
Yeah. And the money in theater typically is
not fantastic. Yeah. And in my opinion, I think it should be the exact opposite.
I agree.
Oh God. Let's shift that, shall we?
Okay. Sounds
now,
great.
what is yours? Are you still running your school, your acting classes?
Yes. We meet every Tuesday.
Here in Asheville?
No, it's in Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh, down in Greenville. Mm-hmm. You're just all over the mountains.
I mean, Asheville and Greenville, that's it.
Okay, that's it.
Just 2, yeah.
That's not
just
bad.
2 spots.
So what is your studio on Tuesdays? What's that place called?
The name of the studio is Dovelight Photography. Oh. And it's a studio in Greer, technically, which is outside of Greenville. But I kind of happened into that. A buddy of mine about 2.5 years ago asked me if I would come and just watch him teach a class that he started down there. And I did. And he would constantly ask me, so Matt, do you have anything? And he was just teaching a fundamentals class, but he would constantly ask me do you have anything that you want to add? And I said, well, yeah, quite a bit. How much do you want me to add? And it was weird. It was this kind of organic process where the reins of the class were just sort of handed over to me. And it was really interesting. Like, he started the class, but he's not really a teacher. He doesn't have the degrees that I have. He just wanted to do this thing. He asked me if I'd help him out, and I did. And then I ended up basically taking the reins. And then the group just evolved, and now it's about a group of 25 people.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's amazing.
And it's a true community. It's pretty, we have, our youngest person is 17.
Wow.
And our oldest is in her 60s.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And that's such a nice range of experience, life experience and accessibility. A 60-year-old woman, a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what types of, like, do you guys do scene work?
We learned fundamentals first, just some movement, voice, and what was the third one? Jesus. Movement, voice, and imagination, right? So those are the three components of the instrument, let's say.
Okay.
And then we moved into scene work.
You're the instrument.
Yes. And then we moved into scene work and did a lot of scenes from miscellaneous films and television series, and then we got into just focusing on the series 6 Feet Under, and we just started doing stuff from 6 Feet Under.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm like, and 6 Feet Under isn't, God, what, that was on forever ago. Is it still on?
No.
I don't watch TV.
No.
I'm kind of out of the loop.
No. It was on HBO between 2000 and 2005.
Oh, right. Is that the guy with Dexter?
Yes.
Aren't you doing something with him?
Shh.
Go away, Dexter.
Yeah.
Top secret information.
Top secret information.
Top secret.
Yes.
It's top secret. We can't talk about anything.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess this show's over. Oh, here for the jokes, folks. Here for the jokes.
Here for the jokes, folks.
Here for the jokes, and that rhymes. So when you are performing, you've always had a very good connection with your body, right? That's part of the movement aspect, I would imagine. Now, when you need to get into certain feelings or whatever, what is your process with that? Like, do you just like categorize everything in your authentic life so you have access to it? Or you just sit in the moment in your heart and be present with what is?
That's a very, very, very hard question to answer in a short amount of time.
We have 30 minutes.
That's a short amount of time.
Okay.
I would say first and foremost, the process changes depending on the demands of the role. Not every role is made the same. So some roles are going to be more physically demanding than, say, playing a therapist that is just sitting and counseling somebody. So sometimes the demands of a role are more emotional, if you want. But I relate to emotion physically.
Really?
Yeah, trained, because they are physical. Trained so I can, any emotion that I need to conjure up through my instrument, I can. It's almost like I think of emotion as energy in motion. So if, for instance, I have to be excited and joyful, I know that energy moves up. So I just move my body up, I move my face up, I move everything about my being up. And I start, and then, you activate, and then you breathe life into that shape. And then it moves accordingly. And then you don't, I don't control it per se, but I control the
You're doing great.
The initiation of it, right? I know that every emotion has a posture, it has a sound, it has a breath pattern, and it has a facial expression. And so if there's something specific from an emotional perspective that I want to communicate, I can do that. Yeah.
And I'm fascinated that I haven't heard the word feeling.
I never try to feel. That is folly. You are human. You will feel. Don't try to feel. Feelings are things that move through us. We don't control them. We can't steer our emotional experience of things. Emotions are things that happen as a result of, being centered in an environment and trying to do something, and then either getting it or not getting it, and all the obstacles that come in your way. So I tell my students that too, because that is like what most actors that when they start, that's what they're trying to do all the time. They're trying to feel it.
Yeah.
And I always tell them, stop trying to feel. Don't do that. Move, do something. Right. Acting is doing. Acting is not feeling.
That is fast. I'm so glad I asked that question.
Well, and then I had a teacher also once when I was in grad school, is one of probably the most important teacher that I ever had, because we would all get up there and try to feel stuff. And he said, stop. And he actually, that's where I got that. He said, stop trying to feel something. Make me feel something.
Why are you rolling your eyes?
That's because that spun me. It was like, what?
Oh, it like blew your mind.
Yes.
Oh,
I had never had an acting teacher actually frame it that way.
Wow.
Most of the acting teachers, if not all of them, had the center of the focus of all the process was on the actor. What's going on with you? How are you feeling, Matt? And this one was like, I don't give a shit how you're feeling. How make me feel something.
Amazing. I love that teacher.
Yeah.
I love working with directors or teachers that like just give you that consciousness shift in the craft of it.
Yes.
So fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God, I'm remembering all sorts
and
of things.
he was from a different time. He was 80 years old.
Oh, amazing.
He was a mime on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in the 1960s when it was black and white.
Wow.
He was mime Walker. And he was classmates with Marceau Marceau. And he was from a different time.
And it was, that's so organic.
So the emotional truth conversation was something that he just spat out, and he was very much into corporeal mime, which was making the invisible visible.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's alchemy right there.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, he was 80 back then, so he's passed on.
He's passed on. Yes.
Oh, God bless.
Yes.
Isn't it such a gift to be in the presence and get to experience those people?
Yes. So, it was truly a gift to work with him. He's in a class all by himself in terms of, I've had a lot of great teachers, but he probably was the most important, because that perspective added something that I never would have gotten from any of my other acting teachers. And most of my other acting teachers were pretty much more or less cut from the same cloth.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, is this in your fundamentals class that you teach? Like, is it just like a whole conglomeration of all that you've learned and practiced that you bequeath to your students?
Yeah. Mine is, I've streamlined everything that I consider to be the most valuable, and the things that not only have impacted me the most, but that I've seen impact the other actors that I've worked with the most. And it's streamlined.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that you are getting into more live theater again. And I mean, everything has changed in the last 30 days. So it's like, are you still fulfilling? Like, what does that process look like for you now? Sorry. I asked hard. You didn't know I was going to ask the hard questions.
No, I love the questions. The challenge is to try to figure out a way to answer them in a succinct manner.
He's a Virgo, Noel.
Though,
sorry,
but I'm not. I'm really not. That's giving the wrong impression, because I'm really not I'm a mess. I am like.
I'm not a mess
in so many ways.
Your pants are really clean
in so many ways.
Okay, he's a hot mess.
I'm a hot mess. Thank you.
You don't even believe yourself right there.
You're right. Okay, so my journey back into the live performance arena is. So the last time that I performed live was in 2013.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, and it was a production of Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, wow.
And and it was like, I was coaching a production in Asheville, and I was asked a week before the opening if I would do the friar, which is the third largest role in that play.
Oh my God.
And I said, no, I don't think so. I think I'm good. And the director was like, please, because the guy playing the friar he was he was losing his faculties.
Mm,
So I said, okay, I'll go on and I'll just carry a Bible on with me, and so I can refer. He's like, I'd really appreciate it if you'd learn the lines.
of course. In
And
1 week. It always, but then like those are opportunity moments of finding out our capabilities. in my
Yes. And
opinion.
so I accepted the challenge as, okay, I'm going to see if I can do this to prove to myself that I can do this, because this would feel pretty good
Yeah.
to do this. And I did it.
Hi,
So,
Mitzi. My sister's here too.
hi, Mitzi. So I don't know
It
you.
says Melissa, but her real name's Mitzi. It's
Okay.
complicated. We're doing great. So you're playing the friar. Was that your favorite role?
No.
That question might come next.
No, it wasn't. It was enjoyable, but the circumstances didn't really give me an
No.
opportunity to kind of sink, to like really open up into it and sink my teeth into it. But yes, it was. But that was the last thing that I did on stage. And now, interestingly enough, so this gets into the story.
Great.
Do you
Yeah.
want to? Okay.
We can do this. This is our time. We can do it whatever we want.
Well,
This is my show. Talk to the producer.
yeah, they need some context might be needed here. All right, folks.
Oh. 5, 6, 7, 8.
So, okay, my father passed away when he was 48 years old.
Mm.
And it was in 1994.
You're so good at dates.
Yeah. Well, that is the Virgo. Yeah, the Virgo in me gets that. But he was an alcoholic. And just brace yourselves, folks. So my parents got a divorce when I was 2, and he basically just was a shadow and became more and more of a shadow until he died of lung cancer. He was a big smoker too, at 48 years old. I just turned 48 in September. When I was 47 in November 2023, last year, I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine who's a clinical psychologist, and we're just hashing out stuff. And he's asking me about my dad. And he says, I've done a lot of work around my relationship with my father. I didn't cry at his funeral, and then decided later that, okay, I need to have a loving relation. I need to find a more comfortable place in my being with my relationship with him, because it just wasn't comfortable. And I've done a lot of work around forgiveness and a lot of light work, let's say, and a lot of shadow work too.
Shadow work.
Yeah. So talking to my buddy, and he says, so do you love your father? And I said, well, that's complicated. And he said, so here's what the clinical data suggests about your relationship with your father, and the Bible actually says the same thing, which is you don't have to love your father and you don't have to like your father, but there is something in honoring your father. Honor thy father, right? And I said, how do you action that? How do I honor a dead father, right? And he says, well, it's kind of like a reverential respect for the fact that he lived a life that gave life to you. And there's the man that was your father, but he failed at embodying the spirit of the father. And that did damage. And I said, okay, great. He said, so you're damaged. I said, yeah. And he said, so what you want to do is reconstruct your relationship with the spirit of the father. And I said, okay.
Right.
All right. So fast forward. In March of this year, I realized that I had developed a kratom addiction. I had no idea that kratom was addictive. I just saw the shot glasses that was mixed with the kava, and they're caffeine free.
Good for you.
Yeah. It's an Asian plant. How bad could it be? So I started taking those, and the dosage went up pretty fast. I liked it. In essence, for those of you out there that don't know, kratom is a painkiller. and it plays in the brain on the same receptors that opiates do, but it's not an opiate. But it plays in the brain the same way that opiates
very
do.
deceptive.
So very addictive, not as bad as heroin or opiates or any of those things, but it is addictive. And I've never been addicted to anything in my life. So I realized, okay, got to come off this. And when I started coming off of it, I went into a 5-day period of no sleep. On day 3, a buddy of mine, another actor buddy of mine in town, asked me to audition for this big project. And I said, okay. And day 3, no sleep. I go in and I put an audition on tape, and I'm a walking zombie, but the audition's serviceable enough. I get that on tape. I go to my brother's afterwards to kill some time. While I'm there, my 6-year-old nephew comes trotting up the driveway. He's home from school. And I say, hey, what's up? And he says, hey. And he's clearly upset. And I say, what's up, buddy? What's wrong? And he breaks down. And he said, I took the wrong bus, and I was so scared that nobody was going to be here. Like, really has like a meltdown. And he's a scrappy kid, so it's not, this was very kind of out of keeping from how I know him to be.
Sure.
And I got my hand on his back, and I just said, I'm right here, buddy. And he falls into my arms. And in that moment, I just had this recognition that he was the outward expression of what I was feeling inside, grappling with the demons of addiction that killed my father, in essence, is what I felt like what was going on. I was in dark night of the soul territory.
Right.
I was terrified. I just internally, I knew everything was going to be fine out here, but inside I've never felt so alone. It's never been so dark. But it felt like, it really did feel like some kind of parasitic force entity was trying to tear at my soul. That's what it felt like. And that's what I had going on, is like, oh my God, I'm now embodying the vibrational frequency that my father embodied when he was an addict, and probably before he died. And I felt the weight that he was under when he couldn't show up as a father, and when he couldn't show up as a husband. And I found a piece of compassion for him that I had never been able to find. And so I'm holding my nephew in that moment, and it's like, I recognize and remember that I never got to run to my father as a scared child. It's a rite of passage. Like, holy shit, that's a rite of passage for a boy to be able to run to his father for protection. And I never got to do that. Not only that, I remembered that when I was my nephew's age, I was out on a creek in central Georgia with my dad and his second wife and her kids, and I'd slipped off of a rock, and there was a current that was pulling me. And I was flat, holding the rock like this, yelling out to my dad, like, Dad, Dad, Dad. And he had a Budweiser in his hand. He was already drunk, midday, stepping out, taking his time on the rocks. He slipped on a rock, fell on his ass, looked at me, yelling for help, and laughed. So that all came flooding back.
Wow.
And I'm having a moment, folks. And then he calmed down in 30 seconds. Everything was fine, but he would have been there for an hour by himself, terrified, out of his mind. He was supposed to go to his mom's house, by the way. And
This is your nephew.
This is my nephew. He took the wrong bus, which, according to his teacher, he never does.
I mean, that's a divine appointment.
Yeah. And so I felt the presence. And not only that, I felt like my ancestral line looking on, smiling, thinking, we got one right. Like, we got this right.
Yeah.
And so I went and sat in a friend of mine's sweat, infrared sauna, and sweated and cried and prayed and was just, still trying to get this stuff out. And then I went to my cousin's and had a great meal and thinking, sure, I'm going to sleep. And I went to sleep, tried to sleep, and nope. The waking nightmares came back. I could feel the demons start to tear at me again. And I just, for the first time in my life, prayed for help. I just said, please help me. Please help me. Please. And I looked at my phone, and a minute later, I got a phone call. And it was my buddy telling me that I got the part that I had auditioned for earlier that day. Now,
wow.
this part is like, why it's, I've been doing film and TV for about 15 years, and this is the part that I got into film and TV to do. It's one of those amazing, incredible opportunities that's shooting locally. It's got an A-lister in it. It's killer. He sends me the trailer. I look at the trailer, and there's a caption at the end of it that says, "There is a world where the end becomes the beginning." So I'm having this dark experience, like a rebirth, feeling like I want to die. And then that after the prayer, that comes through. So I'll say this much. I got the role that I got in this part was the role of a kind of bird. I'll just say that much. It's a yeah.
Do you have to wear feathers?
That's all I'm going to yes.
All right.
Yes. Well, yeah. So the bird, then after that happened, I've gotten 2 invitations to get back into the live theater. One to be in a production of a play down in Greenville, and another one is to direct a production of a play called Stupid Fucking Bird.
You're kidding.
No.
Like, you prayed, and birds are the messenger of Mother, Father, God.
Correct.
Oh, right. My goddess. You can't write it.
And then Stupid Fucking Bird, we were 2 weeks out from opening before Helene hit the area. Mm-hmm. And I called, so we weren't going to do it downtown where we were slated to do it. So I called a friend of mine who has this space out in Leicester. And I said, "Hey, is a space available maybe to do a play out there?" And she said, "Well, you might want to call my neighbor because they just opened up a performance space called Rare Bird."
What?
And so that has like spawned these performance opportunities, including an audition for Romeo and Juliet, where I'll be auditioning for the Friar. So
shut the front door.
There's just it's just like
so miraculous.
Yeah, it's just miracle. It's Miracle City.
And it's so amazing because that is the potential and the possibility after trauma and doing the work.
It's on the other side. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now,
you did the work. This is you've had a huge breakthrough year.
True. Yes, absolutely.
Do you feel?
And the year that I turned the age my father was when he died.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my goddess. We went through that with my brother, actually. He turned 50 and did not turn 51. But my grandpa was 50 when he passed. God works in mysterious ways. That is so amazing.
And that's the embrace. The thing is that one of the things that I learned with the addiction, and it's really interesting. It's like I got to dip into the world of addiction for just the right amount of time,
right,
to learn the thing, but it didn't, like mess my world up or anything like that. It just was like this detour. Or integrated,
was it a detour?
Right. No,
I think it was a purpose.
Yeah,
it was
totally.
That also was a divine appointment, like showing up for the shadow work and doing the dark, because if you don't go deep into the darkness, you cannot go higher into the light, right, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, you're right. And that's the yin yang sign, right? Mm-hmm. That like when things are darkest is when the brightest light from within comes forward. And yeah, it's like that's, you can know the path, but then walking the path.
Exactly.
Different.
Because all paths are leading us home. We just don't necessarily know how.
Yeah. Yeah. And this year for me has been into the dark, into the light, into the dark, into the light, into the dark,
right?
Into the light.
Yeah. That's the great awakening of consciousness shift that humanity is currently undergoing, and continuing on. And and
I do know, and it's happening to pretty much everybody that I know. Everybody that I know is going through some kind of huge tumultuous period of upheaval, and just it's crazy.
And that's the wonderful thing about it, witnessing that we are all in the same freaking boat. We're all on the same planet. We're all in, the events and the experiences look different based upon our own unique frequency, but it is on.
Yeah.
It's very scary. It's very exciting. It's very joyful. It's very humbling. It's very frustrating.
Yep. Humbling is a really good one,
Humbling is
because I was
so-
brought, there's a reason why people get on their knees when they pray. And it's because if you're doing it right, you should be on your knees, because it's a recognition of our vast limitations and yet our ability to be in service to and thus co-create with. But it's
Prime creator.
yeah.
And when we are creating, whether it is in our darkness and light, that is when we are closest to Mother, Father, God.
And it's so bananas, because I've prayed before, but I've never needed to. I've never needed.
You hadn't gotten humbled to your knees.
Yes, and it was then when that's when it was, and it was immediate. Prayer for help. First time I've ever prayed for help and really needed it, and it was right there.
Right there. Not even a minute after. That's the thing. In the blink of an eye, it can shift.
And just with all the other auspiciousness that was going on around that. Kicker. So a couple of weeks after that, my actor buddy friend, gives me this book. And and the book is called Imagine the God of Heaven, which is about near-death experiences. And the author's name is John Burke, which is my dad's name.
I mean, what an honor. Right?
Yeah.
And honor thy father. Wow.
Right. So that has that's been sort of the ushering back into, and on my birthday, which was September 14th, that was the first day of rehearsal for Stupid Fucking Bird. So I'm in the studio on my 48th birthday, and I just had this moment where I'm like, it's my birthday, everybody. And I thought, wow,
you made it.
I'm right where I belong.
You're right.
Like I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And I'm seeing some of this. Barbara says you were wearing his shoes for a moment. I think you're referring to my nephews, and yeah, absolutely. You were meant to be there for him. Yes, absolutely. I mean, it was all of that was seemingly accidental. It was like,
but it wasn't.
Right. But on the surface, it looked accidental, because I didn't have any plans to go up to my brother's that day. And Elkin never misses the bus.
Yeah.
Ever.
Like you just that is so many miracle upon miracle in the darkest night.
Yeah.
I don't want to sing the Florence and the Sheen song.
What?
I'm like, it's always darkest before the dawn. Shake it off, shake it off, shake it off, shake. Okay, I did.
Keep going.
I don't know any more of it, and I think she sold her soul, so I don't really want to sing her stuff.
Okay.
It's all fine. So when is your next live performance in town?
So I'm directing Stupid Fucking Bird. I'm not in it.
Now, do you direct?
I do now.
Oh, I said this is your first directing?
No, I've directed a couple of full-length plays, but but this is my wheelhouse. I feel this is the kind of stuff that I feel most confident directing. And so that will go up in January at the Asheville Community Theater at the 35 Below space, which is the basement. It's the basement of
I didn't know they had a basement.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Probably a lot of people don't either. But
I mean, there's all sorts of things under Asheville that we didn't know about.
Right.
Especially now.
Yeah.
But no drinking water.
But no, yeah.
There's no drink. Where are we getting our water from? Do you know? They have to rebuild our water plants.
I do know that.
Real
Yeah.
interesting times.
Yeah.
And a reminder that we can shift the shape of water with our consciousness, y'all. Remember that. They forgot to tell us growing up, didn't they? That's why I'm here, to remind us. Matt, that was like so powerful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, it feels pretty complete.
Yes.
Do you feel complete?
I do, and I'll just leave everybody with this: is that when your faith is tested the most, is usually when life is the hardest. And if you pass the test, i.e., if you maintain and hold your faith, then and pass the test, then you will have a testimony. And gospel means good news. Did you know that?
I did.
Gospel, I didn't know that. Gospel means good news.
Yeah.
So
does the apocalypse.
Yeah. What? The apocalypse means good news?
Yeah, it is the removing of the veil that has blinded everyone from seeing. And we are in Scorpio season, where the veil gets thinner and thinner and thinner as we move on. And the tested degree of 29 Capricorn is where Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, is. You can't write it, friends. You cannot write it. And who would want to when we have so much more that we are all worthy of, deserving of, and ready for?
And just I guess this is a little bit of a plug, but it's not really a plug.
We'll plug away. That's why you're here.
But my whole year is pretty much lining up that I now have 2025 is all mapped out with my live performance directing.
Oh my God, share. Congratulations.
Stupid Fucking Bird goes up in January at ACT, and then it also is going to go up at a space called Rare Bird out in Leicester.
Great.
And then I'm doing Enemy of the People, which is by Henrik Ibsen in Greenville at the Warehouse Theater in June.
Awesome.
And then I'm going to put up another play out at Rare Bird. I don't know what it is, but that'll be in August, September, around there. And then if the show gets picked up, then I'll start filming in Hendersonville locally in the fall.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
I haven't had like acting jobs lined up.
That's so rare.
Yeah.
That's so rare.
Yeah.
And it's because you did the emotional work. Congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, it's funny because it's like it feels inappropriate to take credit. Yes, I did what I did, and it wasn't nothing by any stretch of the imagination. But when I get what people say when they say it's all God, like it ain't me. I like that moved through me, and I participated, yes, but I did not.
It's the surrender.
I did not make that happen. That's right.
No, and kudos to you for giving credit where it is due and being the vessel and the expression of the miracles. Thank you. Thank you, Matt Burke.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
You guys, isn't Matt Burke great? If you want to hire him, mattburkecasting.com.
Mattburkeacting.com.
He's only available in 2026. So you better get on there.
I have availability and flexibility, and I teach in Asheville too, for those of you who do want to.
And that's on Tuesdays.
Dip your feet in the waters.
Right?
Tuesdays is in Greenville. That's the class that I teach. But if you want private sessions, we can schedule something up here at the studio up here on Riverside.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't know that.
Well,
we're multi-talented people.
Now you do.
And now we know who are you? Who?
I wish I could do the bass.
I'll teach you how to sing.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in for
everybody.
episode 18 of Who Are You? I love you all. If you need my services, go to KristenWriter.com and keep the faith, y'all. We're doing great.
Keep the faith.
Love you. Bye.